Hello, my name is Paul Lavender, and thank you for joining me today. The question that I'm going to address today is, what's a revocable trust? First, a revocable trust has many different names. So you should understand that when people talk about a living trust or a loving trust, they typically all mean a revocable trust. That's the legal terminology. And what's the real intrinsic issue as it relates to what a revocable trust is, what it does, and what the benefits are? Let me give you a couple thoughts and spend a couple minutes discussing that. A revocable trust is ostensibly a will substitute. So if you saw my will presentation, you'll see that there are a multitude of different issues that need to be considered when you contemplate the creation of your distribution plan at the time of your death. The revocable trust does exactly that. However, the real intrinsic benefit of a revocable trust in lieu of a will is twofold. Number one, it's private. Well, what do I mean by that? If you have a will and you go through probate, that becomes a matter of public record. So those issues, in terms of your specific set of circumstances, if privacy is an issue for you, you may be a little bit more sensitized in terms of doing a will versus a revocable trust. The other major issue regarding a revocable trust is that it avoids probate. Probate has this negative connotation. What's this ugly word called probate? Well, usually the connotation is, when you think about probate, you think about that attorney chopping his bit, and lips. I'm going to make all of this money at the time of your death. Well, that's really not quite the case. But most people do try to avoid probate, and I advise clients that avoiding probate is the preferred choice. It's a little bit more expensive, but certainly in the long run, a much better way of developing a cohesive financial blueprint. Things are much more timely. Why? Because everything is done within the confines of the trust without court intervention. Once we go into probate, we have fees, we have legal expenses, and we definitely don't want to get the lawyer involved. We have court costs, we have time delays, we have certain requirements in terms of notification of creditors. So we have a multitude of different things that make the probate process typically and generally a more lengthy process. The revocable trust avoids all of that, and it's much more timely, much more efficient, and can be much less expensive if, and I discussed this in one of my other presentations, if the titling of assets are in the name of your revocable trust. So there are many attorneys, many places on the internet that are advertising revocable trusts at very inexpensive rates. And you can avail yourself of that. I'm not sure it's in your best interest because it's only half the job. Because you need to ensure that the titling of assets conform with your revocable trust. Otherwise, the revocable trust is a worthless legal document. So that means titling of the real estate, titling your brokerage accounts, titling your bank accounts, titling your business interests, all need to be conformed with the legal documentation itself. And the complexity of that legal document, again, as I've discussed in various presentations, really is very subjective depending upon your facts and circumstances. Whether we need to be considering, a special needs circumstance, whether it's disabled child, whether it's drug or alcohol abuse, whether it's creditors, whether it's a divorce, whether it's other special circumstances that we should be aware of, a special needs child. Over 40 plus years of doing this, every family unit that I've come across always has a particular nuance, a particular set of circumstances that should be addressed to create a more cohesive financial blueprint that can be accomplished through the needs of the revocable trust. But in general terms, privacy is a big issue, and probate avoidance is the secondary consideration why most people incorporate a revocable trust in lieu of a will. Please call me. I'll be glad to give you some more feedback and more insight into what I think would be most appropriate in your set of circumstances. And have a great day. Thanks for joining me.